For decades, James Whitey Bulger runs Boston's underworld with an iron fist. He's in that position because the authorities who should be taking him down are actually working with him.
It's January 1995. It's early in the evening and workers are headed home. But the day has only just begun for the FBI and the Massachusetts State Police, sitting in unmarked cars, staking out a restaurant.
For the last 6 years, the FBI and the state police have been trying to build an airtight case against two of the city's most reputed mob leaders, James Whitey Bulger and his number two, Stephen Flemmi. Bulger is not above utilizing any means to consolidate power in the city. He's connected to some 19 murders and is seen as a vicious and ambitious gangster.
The task force is finally ready to make their arrests. The plan is for the Massachusetts State Police to grab Flemmi while the FBI simultaneously takes down Bulger.
The state police are able to corner the unsuspecting Flemmi.
But when the FBI swoops in to arrest Bulger, he is gone and nowhere to be found.
This isn't the first time he has slipped through the net. Very few people knew about the coordinated arrests, so the state police want to know. How does Bulger keep getting away?
They become so suspicious that they start to actually think that someone in the FBI is tipping Bulger off. The FBI was actually starting to get frustrated by these accusations that were being made against them by the state police.
So in a show of good faith, they have now joined forces with the state police to lead the investigation into Bulger.
The FBI investigation does not say how Bulger evades capture. That only comes out 3 years later, at the trial of his right-hand man, Stephen Flemmi.
When Stephen Flemmi takes the stand at his racketeering trial, he's got a bombshell secret to share. He reveals that he and Bulger had been recruited by the FBI in the early 1970s and have been protected informants ever since.
Flemmi's testimony forces the FBI to admit their alliance with Bulger.
They confirm that Bulger was recruited in 1975 by FBI agent John Connolly to help take down one of Boston's most powerful mafia families, the Patriarchus. Deal was simple. If Bulger was to feed the FBI enough intel on the Patriarchus, they would turn a blind eye to all his criminal ventures and provide him with immunity from prosecution. Just like that.
According to Flemmi, the FBI isn't just turning a blind eye to Bulger's crimes. At least one Fed is actively helping him.
Flemmi's testimony is damning. He tells the court that every time law enforcement built a case against him and Bulger, they were tipped off by an insider, which allowed them to stay one step ahead of the law.
The man on the inside Flemmi lets go is actually their FBI handler, John Connolly, who's been working with the pair for more than 20 years.
The Boston FBI is caught completely off guard.
They discover that Connolly and Bulger had actually grown up in the same neighborhood and developed a personal relationship. They were old pals.
The revelation is just mind-blowing, but why would FBI break bread with a notorious gangster? Because of their close ties, once Bulger becomes a confidential informant, Connolly is easily corrupted by him. So in exchange for bribes, Connolly is feeding Bulger information about the police investigations.
The relationship with Connolly and Bulger is exactly what empowers Bulger to basically become the kingpin of the mob world.
It's crazy. You have this combination of this FBI deal and a crooked agent giving Bulger the power to take over the Boston mob world. They made a monster.
By 1999, the FBI has gathered enough evidence to arrest Connolly.
He's eventually convicted of racketeering and second-degree murder and is sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Meanwhile, Bulger remains a fugitive on the FBI's most wanted list for 16 years.
In 2011, they finally take Whitey Bulger down. At his trial, he is sentenced to life in jail.
But 7 years later, Bulger pays the ultimate price. For all those years as an FBI informant, an ex-mafia hitman murders him in his prison cell.
In order to eliminate a common enemy on foreign soil, the CIA will join forces with the mob.
In 1959, Fidel Castro leads his Communist Party to power in the Cuban Revolution. The island of Cuba is barely 100 miles from America, but it's a threat too close for comfort for the US government.
The CIA want communism out of Cuba. So that means they have to get Castro out of the picture permanently. It's a bold and risky move.
The CIA does not want to be tied back to the crime.
The CIA reaches out to a fixer, someone who has connections to the US criminal underworld. And it comes back with the names of two potential collaborators, mobsters John Roselli and Sam Giancana.
It's a serious gamble to try and approach them, but in a way, it's kind of a masterstroke too. The CIA is confident that if word gets out, the idea of the CIA partnering with the mafia is so outrageous that no one will possibly believe it.
The mobsters agree to meet with the CIA. It seems they have their own agenda.
Roselli and Giancana have their own interest in seeing Castro removed from Cuba, as he's been shutting down their lucrative casinos in the island nation as well.
The mob don't just hate Castro's politics. The Cuban leader is also bad for business.
The CIA offers them $150,000 to do this hit. And they don't just decline the offer, they offer to do it for free.
Giancana and Roselli are happy to take this on without compensation because they believe that this will constitute a get-out-of-jail-free card for them later on.
This is doubly crazy. You've got the CIA trying to take out a foreign leader and the mafia turning down money for the hit.
These mobsters want to take a more subtle approach. They don't want to shoot Castro. They want to take a lethal pill and put it into his food or his drink. And the CIA actually gives this operation basically a rubber stamp.
Finding someone in Cuba who's willing to poison Castro is the easy part. Roselli knows an anti-communist worker at Castro's favorite restaurant. In April 1962, he arranges for poison pills to be delivered to the assassin.
The months pass and Castro still isn't dead. It could be because Castro never went to the restaurant. It could be because the guy took the money and disappeared. Or it could be that Castro's just too well protected.
The delays make CIA's top brass increasingly nervous about relying on the mafia to do their dirty work. So, in October 1962, the CIA and the mobsters agreed to abandon the plot and keep their alliance top secret.
This was one deal that was never meant to be made public. But in 1974, the truth was revealed with fatal consequences.
The New York Times publishes an expose which accuses the CIA of being involved in assassination attempts against foreign leaders like Fidel Castro. A government investigation is immediately launched.
During the investigation into plots to kill Castro, Roselli and Giancana are identified and summoned to testify. But before Giancana can take the stand, disaster strikes. He's shot dead in his Chicago home. Roselli fears he will be next.
But rather than go into hiding, Roselli risks his life to tell the Senate the truth. The New York Times was right. The CIA did recruit him to kill Castro.
But just weeks later in Miami, his body is found stuffed inside an oil drum.
Who killed the two hitmen? Well, someone knows, but they're not telling. To this day, no one's been charged with either murder.